Settings. Okay, we are live. I'm gonna mute this. Alright. Alright, we're live now. We're not, are you still watching it, John?
Mm-hmm. We
Okay.
haven't gone on yet.
Okay. We'll just wait a little bit. I think it might be delayed a little bit. Put it on the story real quick.
John, if your family needs mulch, there's a sale on Scott's Mulch until Memorial Day at Home Depot.
Is it the 5 for 10? My grandma saw that actually. I'm gonna help her with that. That's what we're doing. We're on, by the way, Luke.
Okay, cool. Alright. Putting it on my social real quick. What was that?
I fell from a distance.
Are you playing the craft?
I'm playing the craft, guys. I'm building something here that I probably shouldn't be building. Oh, let's kill you.
Does it have anything to do with 1940 Germany?
Actually, it kind of does.
How did
Believe
I
it or
know?
not.
How did I know?
I'm building a specific building for it. Well, I guess you could say camp.
Oh,
Yeah, like a campground. That's what I like to call it.
where all the kids go in the
Where all the
summertime.
kids go, exactly. Do a little bit of manual labor.
Ah, you like
Bill's
the...
character.
Jesus. You're weird.
Perhaps I am.
Share. Copy the link. Okay. We are now live. We are on YouTube right now because we got banned from Twitch for 2 days because of our latest watch party. We're just gonna pretend like it didn't happen. and just try and get on with the episode. So, basically, today's episode. Can I, John? Can I finish speaking, please?
I'd prefer if you didn't, but
Alright.
I guess you could.
Well, I'm just trying to say that we're just talking about the playoffs in this one, and then we'll get on to your questions. We'll just do a quick one today, since not everybody is here in the stream to see. Got a problem with that?
Fellas, let's go on.
Alright, I'm gonna record in 10 seconds.
Can I?
Oh, what's up?
Well, I was just gonna say that Rudy Gobert is pretty ass, and Bradley Beal's not a winner. So.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Actually, LeBron's the GOAT. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm good now.
Okay.
Thank you, Luke.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
We're just gonna... Okay. Alright, welcome to episode 27 of Inside the Paint. We're here with Ben and John again. We are talking about the playoffs this episode. We want to keep it short and sweet to try and... You have got to be shitting me. My dog is barking. That means he wants to...
Well, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah,
I
neither
know,
could I.
but we also have someone living with us. And he's going to get annoyed. Let me put him in my mom's bed real quick.
Dude, I love how he said, we're going to keep it short and sweet. I'm like, bro, at one point we're going to go off on a
Yeah.
We always do.
Last night we were talking about Rudy Gobert, and Luke and I were like, "Oh, we should have been here so he can stop us from arguing."
No, I'd get in on the argument.
That's what I said. I was like, "Ben's gonna join in."
At least for the first part. And then until like last episode where I got like 20 some minutes, I'm like, okay, come on. We
Yeah.
should be moving on. Dude,
Hey, that's what the podcast's for.
Randall won Most Improved.
Yeah. Have any other awards been announced besides those two?
Clarkson got sixth man. That's the only two I've heard of.
Okay. So I think Clarkson deserved it, but I don't think Julius Randle deserved Most Improved.
Oh, he had a great year. I think he deserved more of an MVP candidate than a Most Improved. But
That's what I think too.
I mean, shit, he'd have a better claim than Embiid would to the MVP
I agree.
this year.
Definitely agree. He should be probably like third or fourth place.
My department head at this Home Depot is something special now.
What's up with this?
So, we have like that cage with all the mulch in it.
Yeah.
Up there. And, obviously we have people working out there, and it's super hot out right now. So, last weekend, I worked Friday. I had an 8-hour shift. I think like 7 of those hours I was out there in the sun. So Saturday I come in, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna work inside. I'm gonna downstock. I'll help customers. I'll do everything inside because I
Mhm.
literally just spent all day yesterday out there, and we have like 8 or 9 other people out here in the garden department. So my department head Mike comes up to me and he says, "Hey, do you want to go outside to the mulch pit today?" I said, "If you really need me to, obviously I'll go out there, but I'd prefer not to." And I explained, I'd been out there and I was going to work in here today. And then he didn't say anything after that. He kind of just walked off. So I thought, oh, he doesn't need me out there. He's just curious.
All right.
And then he pulls me aside about an hour later. He was like, "Why didn't you go outside?" I'm like, "Because you didn't tell me to."
Yeah.
He was like, "We all have to do our dues here. We all go out there." So I've been out there every single day since. There's only 5 of us who are out there ever. I'm like, so that was a whole load of crap.
We all have to do our dues. Then, bitch, why don't you get out there?
Yeah, he literally said, "Oh, I'm 60 something. I can't do that anymore." I'm like, "Then go to a different department."
Yeah, seriously.
All right, we are
Man,
good now.
uh,
That
I
fucking
bet.
dog was pissing me off. All right. All right, welcome to episode 27 Inside the Paint. We're going to keep it short and sweet to try and get the debate going next week. So we're just going to be talking about the playoffs today, your opinions on each matchup, and then we'll get to your segments. But we'll start first with the Suns and the Lakers. We'll go with see if your opinions have changed. We'll talk about the impact player for each series, and then we'll talk about who you think would win and how many matches it'll take. This is as of the 27th, just so you know. So there are some series that are underway, just so everyone knows. So yeah, we'll start with the Suns and the Lakers.
Ben, you want to take this head on?
sure. In terms of the overall series, that the result will end on if Chris Paul can come back from that injury, shoulder injury, and be impactful. Because we saw game 1, injury free, and they won in pretty dominant fashion over the Lakers. But game 2, he wasn't to his best because of the shoulder, and that allowed the Lakers to win. So I think it comes down to the shoulder. I think I said last week that the X factor player for the Suns was Aiton, and in game 1, that man dominated AD and Drummond and played like he was the superstar, not a first time playoff appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Suns to win, obviously Chris Paul has to be healthy and Aiton has to play like a superstar. But I wouldn't be surprised if this game went to 7. The series went to 7 games.
I can agree with Aiton being the X factor for the Suns. I think Chris Paul is obviously a pretty helpful player and all that, but Chris Paul can only do so much. And if Aiton continues to dominate games, then the Suns have a real chance of beating the Lakers. But I think for the Lakers, Anthony Davis is their X factor. He needs to play well. LeBron will get you points. Dennis Schroeder, KCP, they will get you points. But AD needs to score the ball. He needs to play defense. He did really well game 2, and they won. Um, Overall, though, I think the Lakers are probably going to win this series, and I think it'll go to a maximum of game 6. I don't think it'll reach 7.
Mm-hmm. The series
I
is
don't
currently
think.
tied. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The series is tied 1-1.
They are currently playing right now, and the score is 49-40 as the NBA app. So it might not be.
Lakers are up.
Lakers are up by 9 points at least. So yeah, I'm sorry. Did you have anything else to say?
Well, I was going to say, I don't think the Suns can keep up with the Lakers' pace.
Okay.
Way too fast pace.
So I feel like having 2 of your top 3 players never being in the playoffs will definitely show, especially towards the later games for the Suns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
which is unfortunate, but it's just how it is right now.
Right. You could go out there and punch the Lakers in the mouth, and that's exactly what they did, right? But you can't expect Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, you can't expect any of those guys to actually be able to compete with them in a game 6 or 7, who have had that experience before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would just like to add that it is really early in the playoffs. Most games only have 2, some have 3 games played.
Right.
But all the young players, first or second time playoff appearances are playing very well this
They are.
playoffs, and it's kind of surprising how well they're doing,
It
especially
is.
against teams that have a lot more experience than them. It's great to see. I love it.
But we'll see how it goes later on in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to the second round,
Mhm.
and then the actual conference finals and everything. It will be a little different.
Oh yeah.
And I forgot to mention, we'll probably be doing these episodes for each section of the playoffs. One to give us kind of a break on like all the other topics and just talk about the playoffs. And it's also a shorter episode, and it gives. There's nothing much going on in the NBA right now. Obviously, there's no trade, no signings, obviously. So there is some news which I will kind of do like a little wrap up at the end of this. But I kind of mismatched it a bit. I did the 2nd and 7th seed. Let's go back to the 1st and 8th seed matchup, which is Utah and Memphis. Series currently tied 1-1. I did watch the rest of that game that we did after we got suspended from Twitch. So Ja Morant went off
47.
47 points, still lost, but with a great individual performance. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I'll let you go first this time.
Okay. I think the matchup is a little lopsided, obviously. It's the number 1 and number 8 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz having multiple playoff experience players. The Grizzlies having this be the first playoff they've made in a few years. So I think
Conley on the who's
on
now
the Grizzlies.
Last time
on the Jazz, the last player to
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Ja Morant, he played really, really, really well, but it's kind of the same thing. Ja Morant is not going to be able to win this game for you, let alone the series.
That's why
you need to have. Go ahead.
That's why Memphis is in like such a tough like spot.
Right.
They have like Memphis. It's a very small market. Little superstars want to go there, so you got to get some help
Right.
from them. Their rookies aren't too bad, but they're no superstar potential like Ja Morant is. So you got to try and pick up maybe like a decent second guy in free agency to hopefully, make a better seed next year. But sorry, go on.
Well, I think Dylan Brooks is that second guy. He's developing into that role.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge 1-2 punch in your backcourt right there. Is that a front court? I can't remember.
court guards.
Which one is guards?
Backcourt.
That's what I thought.
Front court are the forwards and centers.
And then who's
That's
that
what I
one? Who's that one forward for the Grizzlies? That's also like a younger guy.
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, he's out, right? I thought I remember him going down with an injury like early in the season.
He played.
Did he play? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody
Played
else.
last night. Had like 16
Also-
points or something.
Memphis also has the above average center, and isn't it Valanciunas?
Valanciunas.
Valanciunas. But
Obviously, he's not
realistically,
gonna, obviously
I hate to
Gobert's better, but
yeah, I hate to say this, believe me, but he's not putting up points against Gobert. He put up 18, which is cool and all, but I mean, y'all lost by
I
like
need to get.
too much. As a center, you need to put up bigger numbers. I think their biggest problem, however, was they had literally no bench.
Mm-hmm.
Their entire starting lineup scored double digits, but Grayson Allen is their best bench player, and he's not a very good basketball player.
Bring in Derrick
So-
Rose. I wish they would have done that.
Yeah,
Derrick Rose would be a great pickup.
yeah. My opinion on this series and for Utah Jazz moving forward, they need Donovan Mitchell to win. He
Yeah,
didn't play game one and they lost. Obviously, it's not all down to him, but obviously, no number one team seed should lose in that kind of fashion. They will need both Mitchell and Gobert to be fully healthy if they have any chance competing or even getting to the finals.
I
And
agree with you.
yeah, I mean that's there's really nothing else left to say. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I think
It's a 1 and
I
8
think
seed. There's not
Utah
much.
I think Utah's going to win in five. You know,
I agree with
I, th-
that.
I think Ja could put up 60. They're still not going to win because
Wouldn't matter.
no one else is going to do anything,
Uh,
unfortunately.
all right, let's go on to the 3 and 6 seed Denver as the 3 seed, Portland as the 6th. Series is tied 1-1. Let's do this. We'll have John go first in the West and Ben go first in the East.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm looking here at the score in Game 3. It says Trailblazers 59, Nuggets 0.
Uh, the what a game!
64.
It's
64.
64 to
64.
59, Nuggets.
64 to 59. Okay.
And that's
So
at halftime.
that's at halftime. So I'm going to go with the Nuggets in 5 here as well. Denver is such a well-rounded team as a whole. They've got their nice forward. They've got a great center. They got a good guard package. Aaron Gordon has been playing pretty well ever since he got there. Didn't play too well today, in the first half at least. But I think their X factor is going to be Michael Porter Jr. Really being able to get out there as a young guy and keep up with a lot of other teams and really be able to put points on the board. You're going to have, Nikola Jokic be able to put up points. You're going to be able to have Jamal Murray and all them, but you're going to really need
Murray
Michael
injured?
Porter Jr. Murray is injured right now, which is why Michael Porter Jr. needs to step up. Needs to step up. Problem with the Trailblazers is they got CJ McCollum and they got Damian Lillard, Yusuf Nurkic, but they do not have a bench. Sure, they got Enes Kanter, but he's been playing like absolute trash, not getting any minutes. Carmelo Anthony, I love the guy. He's one of my favorite basketball players, but he's not going to give you 25, 30 points. That's what you need right there.
Days are gone for him.
I mean, those days are gone.
Definitely.
So Portland is a great team. They're one of my favorites because of Damian Lillard, but I don't see them able to go far
Mm-hmm.
in this series. And I think, honestly, I hate to say this, I think until they completely do a rebuild and get rid of their superstar point guard, they will never be able to make it far in the playoffs. That's my hot take.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I I don't know if the Nuggets will win the next three, but it's definitely a possibility.
Right.
I say at most it goes to a game six, but still
Yeah.
Nuggets are winning. Not Jamal Murray. Damian Lillard, he'll put up his numbers, but there's no one else around him. I kind of feel like Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal are somewhat similar in the fact that they will put up crazy stat lines, but at the end of the day, at the end of their career, I highly doubt they will ever win a championship or be a part of a team that can truly contend unless they go somewhere where they are not the first option.
Almost as if like they're not winners.
Exactly. Crazy how that is.
Oh, what do you
Crazy.
know?
Crazy how that is.
Luke, what are your thoughts on the matter?
No comment.
Next topic.
No, I'm not saying it. I'm not gonna say it. But yeah. So now we are going to the 4th and 5th seed. This is the only team in the West where it's a 2-0 lead, and it's Dallas and the Clippers. Dallas lead 2-0, and their next game is tomorrow. So let's
Tomorrow.
get your opinions on those.
I think the Clippers are going to lose in 5, personally. Clippers are obviously the better team, uh, but they're sure as hell getting bullied by Luca.
Mm.
And it's honestly like last night, Kawhi Leonard had 41 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. Paul George, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Uh, and like that's it. Nobody else had anything, and that's their problem. You're gonna have two great stars, great two-way players, play elite defense and elite offense, but you have got to have a supporting cast. It's a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
Luka's just eating them up. Porzingis is knocking down shots. Tim Hardaway's doing amazing, and I mean, there's really just no answer for Luka at this point, and absolutely manhandling the Clippers.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, I think for the Clippers to turn this shit around, they're gonna need Reggie Jackson and Patrick Beverly to step up. They need both of them, and I don't think that they can do it personally.
Mhm. If, in my opinion, if the Clippers have any chance at making it competitive, I don't think they're going to win, but at least
Yeah.
make it competitive. Ty Lue needs to put Paul George on Kawhi Leonard. Patrick Beverly, say what you want about him, but he cannot fucking guard Luka Doncic. Luka is going off for some career averages right now in their
Yeah.
series. So you either put Paul George or Kawhi Leonard on. And I personally, I'd put Paul George because he's used to playing a guard role here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's their best defensive strategy for that. But yeah, like you said, no
Yeah.
one else is doing shit on the Clippers besides Leonard and George. And it's a shame because I remember last year and even into this year, you looked at their team and like, okay, they got good depth. They could compete. They can go to the conference finals and maybe even the finals.
Oh, yeah, even in the
Like
beginning of the season.
they have they have a playoff team. They have that depth. That depth ain't done shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking to you guys about this ESPN hot take I saw on Kawhi Leonard and John Morant. It was actually two separate hot takes I saw. It was after, it was after Kawhi had 47 and 4 in their last game, and then Ja had 47, 4 and 6 or something. Two great stats. And ESPN was making it out that they weren't doing enough for their team, and they were the reason that their team was losing. And I was dumbfounded by the statement of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
how on earth is one player scoring 40 plus, getting you multiple assists, getting you multiple rebounds, and you have the audacity to say they're not doing enough for this team to win?
Right.
That is, I was so mad about that. I was like, if this is LeBron James or AD putting up these numbers, you're praising them and saying it's everyone else's fault, which it is. It is everyone else's fault that they are not winning. Either team is winning.
Yeah. I agree with you on
I
that.
was just so angry at that statement.
Rightfully
It was
so.
crazy because it was two different shows, two different statements on each player. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy. The amount of bias that they have towards some players.
Oh yeah.
ESPN, obviously, they
And-
have this
And
stigma.
teams. Yeah. Players and teams.
Yeah, they just have this stigma with like ESPN, especially with the whole rookie situation. Once it's their rookie year's done, there's no coverage on them. Zion is an example. You might see it with LaMelo. They were huge on LaMelo this year, and you probably won't see that much if it's going off the same theme. But who knows? But that's probably going to be the theme that's going on to next year. I don't even know who next year's top player is.
I haven't paid attention to
I usually
the
pay
upcoming
attention
draft
to it
class
like after.
after the season. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, all right. Let's get on to the Eastern Conference. We'll go with the first and 8th seed, Philadelphia and Washington. Philadelphia is leading by 2-0. Their next game is in 2 days for Game 3. So, Ben, I think, Ben, you start with.
Philly's going to sweep this. As much as I love Westbrook, as much as I'd love to see him succeed, that team's not doing anything. Philly will sweep this. We could have a whole topic conversation about the fans at Philly.
That's
and
what
the
I was
fans
gonna.
at
That's what I'm gonna
New
bring
York.
up is the whole fan thing afterwards.
Yeah, so I'll save my comments for that. But there's no surprise here. We all knew the Wizards got in just because they have to fill out 8 teams. Philly's going to move on, no problem.
All right, John. Yep. Hello.
I don't know if I should say it.
Say it.
Bradley Beal's just not a winner, plain and simple. He's not a winner.
John, why is it whenever I
You
ask
can't
for a
do
nice
it without
nice
Westbrook.
why can't I just have a nice chill podcast? I say it in the beginning. Just ask for a nice chill podcast. We just talk about the playoffs. That's it.
Dude, you said the first segment before we had to go deal with your dog that you're going to keep it short and sweet. As soon as you left, I'm like, dude, we never keep it short and sweet on this podcast. It always goes off somewhere.
Should know better by now.
And I think we have
Should
the
know better
suspect
by now.
in that situation. The antagonizer. The instigator, I mean.
I think we have a few suspects here. Let's not put it all on John.
It's mostly John. It is mostly John.
Well, either way, the fact of the matter is that the Wizards were never going to be going very far into the playoffs
Absolutely not.
before or after Westbrook.
Lucky to win one game.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think the Wizards had the opportunity to win one game in Game 1, and they blew it. But, I mean, there's no way you can compete. I mean, let's just look here. We've got shit. I fucked up. Well, doesn't matter. But Joel Embiid's popping off. Ben Simmons is popping off. Seth Curry is knocking down shots. You don't have answers for any of those. They got Alex Len, but who the fuck is that? So he's not stopping Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And I don't think there's anything Bradley Beal can do because he's already putting in so much. It's the same argument. He just needs pieces around him.
That we're going to ignore for now. At least till after the debate.
Also, Westbrook went off injured, so.
Right,
You
like
don't
his
even
only
have-
actual help is injured now, so there's no point.
So now
They should just forfeit.
it's all about pride for Washington at this point.
Yeah. It's something for him.
All right. Next one is Brooklyn versus Boston. Brooklyn leads by 2. Why do I keep saying that? Like it's like a fucking game. They're leading the series 2-0.
Also, again, no surprise here.
Yeah, the East is a little at least the 1st and 8th and the 2nd and 7th are kind of blowaways.
I mean, to be honest, I was kind of surprised that Brooklyn has gone up 2-0. I would have thought that the Celtics could push it to a 6-game series, but they're nowhere to be found. Like I saw one statistic. I don't know if it was just for Game 2 or if it was for the entire series so far, no Nets player has played more than 30 minutes or taken more than 15 shots, and they have straight up dominated the Celtics. Like, even the Heat in the early 2010s, even the Warriors, I don't think that statistic ever applied to them in a playoff series.
Right.
Like, that is just startling impressive. Like, none of these players are having to work. It's not, like, obviously they're working, but none of them are having to put in that extra little to even win, but they're coasting to a dominant sweep of the Celtics. Also,
Well,
I
that's the
found
thing. Go
also I
ahead.
found it hilarious that Fournier was like talking mad shit to KD while they were getting blown out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs
Oh,
to
it's
keep his
fine. That
mouth
was
shut.
hilarious.
It just goes to show
I,
you health is everything. If these Brooklyn Nets can stay healthy, easy path to the championship, in my opinion. Maybe Philadelphia, obviously, is their hardest
What
challenge.
about Milwaukee?
I think they'll win against Milwaukee.
Fair enough.
I think the problem that a lot of teams have had, as we said before over and over and over, is they don't have enough pieces. But that's the exact opposite with the Nets.
Honestly.
We've always said, Kevin Durant could have a bad game, 1 in a million chance, but let's say it happens. James Harden, you know damn well he can pop off for 65. Kyrie can pop off for 50. Joe Harris,
Didn't
he could
Kyrie join
shoot.
the 50-40-90 club this year, if I'm not mistaken?
Um,
Who did?
Kyrie,
Yeah,
didn't
he
he
did.
join the 50-40-90?
Mm-hmm.
did he?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
That's very impressive. See, like, that just goes to show you, he can easily throw it down. Because Kyrie had a pretty lackluster game in Game 2 against the Celtics. He only had 15, 6, and 6. Pretty impressive, but that's not Kyrie Irving,
Mm.
right? And they still blew them out by 22 points, right? Because you had Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Landry Shamet, Nicholas Claxton, Jeff Green, Tyler Johnson. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many guys who can knock down at least 10 points. You got 10 guys that can knock down 10 points. That's
That's
100
100.
points right there.
Even
Celtics
three.
scored a
That's
108.
an extra 30.
That is hard to beat.
Right. That
Very
is
hard to beat.
hard to beat. And especially, Ben, you brought up an amazing point, especially how they're able to do it in under 30 minutes for each player.
He's so well
Okay.
rested.
So well rested. This is the reason that I think that they will beat the Lakers. They're going to have an easy way because you're going to have Milwaukee. They're going to be tired. Right, going up against a nasty, gritty team like the Heat, giving it their all. They may even sweep the Heat. They'll be tired. They're going to roll through the Bucks. They're going to roll through the 76ers, and they'll be able to give the Lakers a run for their money.
And all this under 30 minute stuff, that goes to Steve Nash. Everyone's, oh well, I can coach a
Absolutely.
team. I can coach a team, with that and make the playoffs. Obviously, yeah. But to keep them well
Yeah, but
conditioned, they have amazing conditioning already. But then you have the great rest that they get on top of that with going 30 minutes. And the game plans, of course, the plays, that specify each skill set of each all-star. So
yeah,
you got to put some
I mean,
respect on Steve Nash.
yeah, and that's just to show you, like, Steve Nash is a good coach because a coach like Tom Thibodeau or Dan Antoni are known to, even when they have good amounts of star players, will run their players into the ground. And Steve Nash is over here like, no, I will refuse to do that. Watch this
Yeah.
happen. And that's amazing. And, good for him that he's able to, put his team into that sort of situation. But still, that's a, everyone was kind of giving him, like Luke said, a free pass this year. But he's doing his job. He's doing his
Mhm.
job well.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, Brooklyn still has some great young players still.
They do.
They have Nicholas Claxton. They have Luau Cabarro. That could be a great role player. So even if they don't go all the way this season, if the young guys put in the work And obviously some might not make it. I'm thinking Nicholas Claxton might be the only person that makes a starting lineup next year. Maybe Bruce Brown too, but yeah, they still have
Bruce
a
Brown
lot
can
of.
do it.
They have a mix of great veteran players like Blake Griffin,
Right.
people that are getting towards the end of their prime. I think, which they'll still be great, but like it's not their prime version like KD and Kyrie. You know, um,
I,
to
I'm still
mentor
under
them.
the belief that you said even if they don't make it all the way and don't win it all, they still got all these players coming back. I'm still under the belief. I said this months ago. If Brooklyn doesn't win the championship this year, there's going to be a lot of players leaving, and they won't be nearly as good next year. This this is a team that's built to win now, and if they don't, yeah, they'll probably have a few guys, few key role players coming back, but you know, I feel like people like Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan are probably just going to go to a different
They can
team.
have them.
Maybe one of your top three would go to a different team
Maybe.
too. Who knows?
I
Yeah, it's
wouldn't.
very convenient that Kevin Durant was injured all of last year. Kyrie was in and out. James Harden didn't want to be traded last year. All these players were in good standing, good position with their teams last year. And then all of a sudden, this year, out of the blue, Katie is back. He's 100%. Kyrie's knocking down 50 40, 50 40. What was the
90,
club again?
50,
50
40,
40
90.
90.
Which I believe
And
only like
I
12
mean,
players at most are
Mm-hmm.
in
right,
history.
exactly. So that's my little conspiracy theory. I think
Yeah,
your team cheats,
I
Luke.
don't know about Cade. I don't know how you can cheat an injury like KD does. Because
Fake
if,
it.
but why would he fake it? He still has Kyrie. They still could have.
There's no way he would have faked that,
Yeah,
especially if like there's no way he would have sacrificed a championship with Golden State just to play this long ass game. No fucking way. Also,
At
there
Golden State.
you're saying this injury's fake.
he said
No,
like
no, no, no,
last
no,
year
no.
he faked his injury, like
Oh
when he
no,
signed,
Last
and then
year,
he had
I'm saying that he could have come back earlier than he did. I think
he
he could
could
have.
have.
right. But what happened that with Golden
He
State?
was smart and Brooklyn was smart. Yeah, he
Okay,
came back too early at Golden State and it fucked him
yeah.
up even more. I am say what you want about him. I am so happy he did not come back last year because if he would have re-injured himself again, we're looking at a Clay Thompson situation where we don't see him for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
He did the smart thing and not coming back. There's no need for him to come back. There's Brooklyn wasn't doing anything last year.
Hmm. But I think I
But
said this in the
Realistically,
previous
they knew
episode.
that going into the season.
I definitely said
yeah.
Brooklyn knew
something
that
like
going
that,
into last season that,
where
that they weren't going to do anything. So yeah.
like last year when KD was like throwing up shots and he was in scrimmages last year. I think I said it in one of the earlier episodes. I don't want him to come back because it could happen
Yeah.
again where he can re-injure it, or even worse, have another injury on top of that where he has to battle two injuries at once, one recovering and one that's current. So I'm glad he waited the full year to get 100%, and it looks like it's paying off. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
all right, so
Yeah.
now we have Milwaukee and Miami, which I thought was going to be a close series. In my opinion, I thought this was going to be the good series in this one, but Milwaukee's leading 3-0 in the series, and their next game is in 2 days, on the 29th. So, the sweep or no?
No.
Yeah. I I definitely say that there is a sweep. Milwaukee the past few years as I don't know what happened, but they were 19 and 20. They were a team that you looked at that they could potentially go to the finals. They could have an outside chance of winning, and then they just fell apart. They got massively upset by a team that most people looked at shouldn't even be competing with them. They ain't fucking around this year, man. Not with the 76ers and the Nets. They're not gonna they ain't fucking around with Miami this year. As much as I thought the series, my bad, was gonna be way closer.